everyone, it's Mari here with another episode of Tried, Trendy, and True. Today I'm going to be using the gorgeous Spellbinders Poinsettia Bloom die set. This is a very interesting two-piece set. You can see that there's a shadow die, and then there's an inner larger die that actually cuts in two pieces as well. I used the shadow die to cut out my base layer for this piece out of some vellum, and so I'll just set that aside. Now I'm going to use the other die piece here with some Gina K red velvet cardstock, and I'm just going to now take a piece of press and seal, and I'm going to press that into the back of this die cut piece. And what that's going to do is it's going to hold all of those pieces that are cut away, that are going to be released when I take this two-piece die cut apart. So I'm just going to use my pokey tool here to go ahead and release those pieces from the die, and then I'll pull this apart and you'll just see how the released pieces are going to stick to that press and seal, and it's just going to make it a little bit easier when I paper piece this back together. So once I've got that on the press and seal, I'll just go ahead and set that aside, and that will be all ready when I'm ready to do the paper piecing. Now I've taken that die and I've cut it again from some brushed gold cardstock from Spellbinders, and I'll set those pieces aside that were cut away from gold, and now you can see all of the pieces that I'm going to use for my project. So I'll take this gold piece and that'll be overlaid over top of that vellum. And then all we'll have to do here is piece the red pieces into the open spaces. So I'm going to adhere the gold piece down to the vellum layer just with a little bit of liquid adhesive. And I'll go ahead and just take some time to make sure that this is lined up so that there's an equal amount of that vellum showing around the edges of this gold die cut piece. Now I really love that brushed gold cardstock from Spellbinders. It is so stunning. It is definitely my favorite gold cardstock to work with for die cutting. It's just really, really pretty. So once I'm happy with that and I've got that pressed down, I'm going to take my Scrapbook Adhesives 3D foam squares, and these are the thin squares, so they're a little bit less dimensional than the regular thicker ones. And I'm going to put a piece of that foam on the back of all of these different cutaway pieces to paper piece the leaves of the poinsettia into the different open spaces on that die cut. And now you can just see how useful that shadow layer is. It allows you to go ahead and do a lot of different techniques actually with this poinsettia die. It's actually very, very cool. I'm really impressed with how creative you can get with this particular way that they've designed this. And I'm just going to go ahead and take all of the release paper off of all of the foam and get these placed into the spots using my tweezers to help me get these all positioned. It's very, very easy to line these up. You can just simply line up a couple of the edges, and the remaining edges will all be lined up as well. So I'm using my tweezers to help me get all of these placed into those openings. And you could use really any combination of colors for this die cut or for these die cut pieces. I think, there's a lot of really stunning colors that could be used that would make this look very interesting. And you could also use your inks to color blend to create the color for the paper instead of using colored cardstock. But I really love this Gina K red velvet cardstock. I think it looks really beautiful with the gold. So now you can see there I've cut out my card front into a rectangle. I actually used the Gina K Master Layouts 2 to cut that rectangle. It is a stitched rectangle, and I used the layer die from Master Layouts 2 out of black to cut out of black for my mat. Now I'm going to be using the gorgeous Snow Garden Sentiments hot foil plate from Spellbinders, and I'm going to use the Merry Christmas hot foil plate to create that sentiment in the lower portion of the project. There's that hot foil plate there that I used for that purpose. And now I'm going to start to assemble the card. Now you did see that I'm going to be using an embossed paper for behind the black cardstock. That was actually created with the Geo Quilt 3D embossing folder from Simon Hurley and Spellbinders. So I'll just go ahead and use my liquid glue on the embossed layer as well. And I'll get that adhered to my A2 size top folding card base that I have on my desk. So I'll just go ahead and get that adhered down. I'll pick the card up and just make sure that I have that on there nice and straight. And I'll give that a good press so that it's nice and adhered to my card base. And now I'll just go ahead and put this next layer on with my liquid adhesive again and get that layer down onto my card base. And I'm just going to take a second to make sure that that's nice and centered. And then I'll go in with the poinsettia piece and add that on with some foam adhesive. Once I have that all placed, I'll just go ahead and take the release paper off the back of those pieces and position this just so that it will allow for that Merry Christmas to show up nice at the bottom. So I'm just going to kind of put this on a diagonal in the top portion of the card. And then that Merry Christmas is just going to be nice and finished off at the bottom there. Now I'm going to use some Simon Hurley Slippery When Wet Lunar Paste. And I'm just going to put that down onto my mat with my palette knife. And then I'll just liquefy it by adding some water. And now I can just go ahead and splatter with that. And it just looks so nice with the gold cardstock. Friends, that's the last step for my card, and my card is going to be finished up. I'll just pick it up and show you in the light how nice and shiny it is when everything's dry. Please make sure that you check out all of the information in the description box below for the products that I've used today. Have an amazing day, friends, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.